good evening, everybody. Welcome to It's All Black and White TV, and this is Newcastle United versus Manchester City match preview, and also we will have a look back on Eddie Howe's talking points from his press conference as well. I'm joined by Roly tonight. How are you, Roly?
Great. Thanks, Tony.
Good. Right, okay, before we get into the show and get into any comments, please remember, if you do like what you see, please do smash that like. It does help the channel stay near the top of the search, and it means new viewers find it more easily, so please do give it a like. That would be great. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, come and smash the subscribe. Come be part of this great community we have here. Also, smashing that bell notification tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record, or any upcoming shows as well. On the way towards 1,200 subscribers. Also, if you want to make a donation, you can do that in chat by clicking the $sign. And if you want to become a member, it's 99p a month, and you can do that by clicking the join button. But subscribe and bell notification is totally free. Right, that said, let's get into the comments before we start. Holly says, hi, Tony Roly. I would absolutely be delighted if we got a draw to this game, 1-1 or 2-2. Do you know what, Holly? I can't disagree more with you. Absolutely spot on. Mad, good evening, everyone. Hope you're all well. Good evening, mate. Hope you're well. Would be Farmer. Hi, mate. Hope you're well. He says, I see batter them like we did Spurs last year, 6-1. That'd be lovely, wouldn't it? We can only hope. Mate. Mad Mag says, my mind says 3-1 City, but my heart agrees with would-be Farmer. Up the Maggies. Do you know what? The 6-1 against City would be absolutely fantastic. Would-be says, City are well overdue a serious ass-whopping, and it may just as well as be us. Do you know what? I would love to be that team just to give them an ass-whopping, absolutely. Bia says, evening, Tony, Uncle Roly. Heard you been moonlighting with BSB.
BSB?
What's
BSB?
Can you can you let us know what BSB is, B? I'm not sure what you're on about, moonlighting. Mad Max says, they've been up and down, no reason why they can't thrash them if we are on our game. Do you know what it is? They have been up and down, that's the thing. Yes, they've got no Haaland tomorrow, but they've still got people like Alvarez who can come in and play well. And, you know, they've got Doku, they've got Grealish, they've got Foden, they've got Kevin De Bruyne's back now from injury. Yes, so he'll probably be a starter. He'll probably be on the bench. I wouldn't imagine he'll be starting tomorrow. Look, they've got quality all over. We know they have. Good evening, everyone, says Julie. Good evening to you, Julie. Hope you're well. Tanji, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you, mate. Hope you're well. Mad Max says, who's that next to you, Tony? I think I recognise him from somewhere, laughing. Lee says, evening, Tony, Roly, and everyone. Good evening to you, Lee. I hope you're well, my friend. Matt says, good day, Tony and Roly. Good day to you, Matt. I hope you're well, mate. Down under. BS says, bullshit, Barry. All right, okay. Holly says,
watched the show with Mancini and Wade last night.
Yeah. If we need to save more players, says Holly, we will need to grow our revenue, and we will get there. It's a massive project and process with our owners. Absolutely, Holly. But this FFP is really killing this club at the minute. And you know what? Look, the thing is, we're on about players who could be sold just to make it lightweight of this. But the thing is, though, if you look at Chelsea, they do it when they sell players. They'll sell a homegrown player so they can make a bit of money. Now, I know it's probably not what people want to hear, but if we don't want to sell, because look, at the end of the day, if you want to be an elite team, you've got to keep your big players. You've got to keep your best players. So it might be the fact is, you let somebody like Longstaff leave. Now, people might say, I don't want that to happen. But it's not the fact that we don't want it to happen. It's the fact is, what you've got to remember is, on Longstaff, you'll get 100% profit because he come through the academy, you know. And look, if you go back in time, if you even go back to Alex Ferguson, he sold huge players. But then he's always brought another player in who's either just as good or if that little bit better in quality. So he's always made them decisions when he wants to get, like when he got rid of Beckham. Everybody was saying, oh, you can't get rid of David Beckham, he's huge. But he got rid of him and he brought somebody else in who was just as good as Beckham. And so that's what you got to do. It's moving parts at the end of the day, and we'll get there eventually. Don't worry about
Yeah,
that.
it's going to take a while because that's how FFP is rigged. It's just they didn't want. It was originally brought in to stop clubs going bust, but the so-called Big Six saw an opportunity to stop anyone challenging them after what happened with Chelsea and Man City. The big clubs, the Liverpools, Man Uniteds, Spurs, others, well, didn't want more competition, so they keep tightening FFP. It's no coincidence that the tightening of FFP happened so quickly after our takeover took place. Because the shit's scared. Simples.
So yeah, I mean, we know what it's all about at the end of the day, don't we? So we know what it was brought in for. Anyway, Tanji say 2-1 win for us. Isak and Gordon, says Lee. Tanji says, let's do our best and focus on what we have to do tomorrow rather than worrying about what Man City are. Absolutely, Tanji. Definitely, mate. Tristan says, hi, Tony. What do you think of all this FFP shit? Personally, we've spent 400 million, so we should have to sell Longstaff. Is the player to get 35 million, gives us 3 players of 15 million. That's the thing, I mean, look, I know people are saying, oh, we don't want to lose Longstaff. But look, let's be honest, he hasn't been great since he's come back from his injury. And, I mean, look, I think you're going to be stretched to get 35 million for Longstaff, considering what you've got to look at is his contract runs out next season. So even if he doesn't go in this window and he goes in the summer, which I don't think he goes in this window anyway, but if he goes in the summer, he's got a year left. His value goes down because of the contract situation. So you may get 25 million for him in the summer.
I'd be surprised if you get that little for him because over the last season and a half he's performed well. He's in a little bit of a slump at the moment.
Yeah, but he's only got a year left on his deal. If you look at players who have a year left on that deal, they don't go for an awful lot of money. So, but look, you never know. Somebody, if he has a great ending to the season, you don't know. Somebody might come in the summer and say, we'll offer you 40 million. And you say, right, okay, take it. So, but again, we'll just see what happens. We'll wait and see anyway. Tanji says, Isak takes it all. Man City are going to fall. Let's hope so, mate. Let's hope so. Lee says, I'd get Garassi and Phillips and get a few players from Saudi. I mean, Lee, Garassi is still hanging around. And the thing is, at 15 million, I said that is a low-risk signing. Some people are saying there could be a thing with Phillips, £4 million loan fee now with an option to buy at the end of the season. I'll take that. I'll take that all day long. And players from Saudi, look, I don't know how the club's going about this, if they're going to. Plus, you got to remember, the Saudi League are in the middle of their season at the moment. So, they might not want to lose some players, and that's the thing. But look, one player I would definitely take till the end of the season, and I think would be a cracking signing to have in the team, even just as a squad player, and that's Roberto Firmino. I think he'd be wasted if he went to Sheffield United, in all honesty. But I would definitely take him. Why not?
I think with the Saudi players, unless the player actually wants to go, I don't think any of the players will be leaving the Saudi league because they're trying to build the league and they need the big players to attract more big players. I forget, what was it? The Daily Mail columnist, the Northeast correspondent, Craig Hope, was saying, I think it was Craig Hope, or it's either him or Keith Downey, was saying that the Saudi, the PFI clubs in Saudi aren't going to be giving away players. They don't want to sell, they don't want to get rid of players, and that they'll only do it if they get a really good deal. so we're not going to get any favours going to them. I just can't see us getting one from Saudi. Well, not this window anyway.
Tristan says, sorry, but FFP has nothing to do with the top six. Sorry, there are 20 teams. You need 14 votes to get anything through. The top six doesn't have any say.
Yeah, it's the rules are catered for by the big six, and when the rules were voted in, it was there was no real no one felt they could break in to that top six, and the top six were obviously wanting to protect what they had. You look at, was it a couple of summers ago, they tried to get in that project Big Picture, where they wanted to consolidate all the power for changing the rules in the top big six, just because they're threatened by takeovers. The other teams voted for the FFP as it was because at that time, no one could see themselves actually having a decent push at getting into the top six. But every time, I mean, you've got to remember, FFP was brought in to stop clubs going out of business. Because remember what happened to Portsmouth, because they overspent, they dropped down the league, and they didn't want that to happen again. That's why FFP came in, and that's why everyone voted for it. But the tightening of the rules has come as it keeps saying, "Oh, it's something we've been meaning to do for ages," but because there's a threat to the status quo, the teams at the top don't want the competition. That's why they voted to tighten the rules. I mean, like the related ownership partners, sponsorship, fair market value, those came in. Teams that voted for it all had related party owners, sponsorship. Like Leicester at the time, they had King Power, were owned by their owners. Obviously, the Man City were their owners. I mean, everyone was doing it, and then they realised the wealth of our owners and thought, bloody hell, if we let them do what they want, it's going to screw everybody. So they brought it in. So it's initially it wasn't to stop clubs breaking into the top six, but as they've tightened the rules, that's the effect it's had, and the bigger clubs are happy with that.
Yeah. Good evening, Derek. He says, evening all, big ask to get 35 million for Sean. Do you know what? I think that as well, Derek. I mean, look, I did say before there, I think 25 million is probably going to be the max. He's not been that great. And look, yes, he's been great for us, but since he's come back though, Roly, I disagree. I don't think you're going to get more than 25.
There's temporary form. He's been improving, and he's one of these players that takes time to get back to.
If he smashes it, between now and the end of the season, Roly, then you may get an extra 5 million on top or whatever. But I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think you're being a bit. You're underselling the lad. When you look at last season, it's fantastic for us. Right? It's had a bit of a blip this season. Part of that is because of the number of games we played in the rapidity that we played them, and we've not been able to rotate. He's been playing far more than we'd anticipated this season. He's had a dip in form, he's had injuries, but he's still got that player there. And he's got a body of work over the last two seasons that has been fantastic. Just because he's having a bit of a dip now doesn't devalue him that much.
Yeah.
I don't think we'd take less than 30 million for him. I think we could get that easily.
Yeah, Facebook user. I'm not sure who you are. If you click on the settings, it'll show you who we are. He says, he or she says, moving forward, there is no room for sentimentality. But that's the thing. We need to stop being sentimental to players. It's like if somebody if Besiktas, because remember, the Turkish window, I think, is open for an extra fortnight after our window shuts at the end of January. So remember, Turkey can still sign players. Look, if Besiktas are keen on Lascelles, then it's a no-brainer. You sell Lascelles this window. Simple as. Because
you've got to do it with time to get a replacement because we'd be light at centre
we've got
half.
replacements, Roly. We've got them. We don't, we've got Kraft who can play at centre back. We've got Alex Murphy who can play there.
It's a big drop in quality. But they need to come and do the deal now rather than at the end of the window when you can't replace him.
Yeah, but we need. But what I'm saying is, Roly, hang on. Listen to what I'm getting at. The thing with Lascelles, if Besiktas want to buy him, then yes, sell him. Depends what you get for him because he's only got 6 months left on his contract. So Besiktas might not want to pay a massive fee for him. They might only want to pay 5 million, say. And you think, okay, accept that because in the summer he walks away free. So you may as well take something. You've got to take something towards FFP. So even though it's only 5 million, it's still something that's coming at the club. It's an income. So
yeah, I can see the point you're making, but I know they're talking about extending his contract. If they do that,
no, I don't think so, Roly. I don't think so. I think, look, we know Eddie Howe said he would like to extend the contract, but there has been rumours that PIF do not want to extend it because they're trying to move forward from these players. They're trying to move on. And the thing is, Roly, sentiment has got to go now. I'm sorry. Look,
I'm not talking sentiment.
It's been all right.
I'm talking about protecting the value of the player.
If you
extend his contract by a year and sell him in the summer, you can get 15 million for him.
He's probably not going to. Well, that's if you would sign a contract now. We might not even. Who knows?
There's always some knots. Yeah, but I understand. But if you can extend him and then sell him in the summer, you can get 15 million for him.
I mean, technically, clubs abroad can talk to Lascelles now about moving in the summer.
Yeah.
And if he leaves the summer, he can go and have his own signing-on fee.
It's the way I look at it. It's not about sentiment. It's about looking that there's a player who has been superb this season and is worth a reasonable amount of money if he had more time on his contract. So I would get him to sign a 1-year extension and then sell him in the summer. So you get 3 times the money, which helps us more with FFP than selling him for 5 now. But I'm thinking of protecting the asset and a business point of view as opposed to sentiment. The players, we all know the players that we need to get shot off. We've been saying it for since the takeover, but the problem is not so much that the club are being sentimental about it, is that no one wants them. The teams that could use these players and they could do a job for can't afford them. And the teams that can afford them don't want them. That's been the problem.
Well, Southampton managers actually come out and said he'd rather buy Ryan Fraser in this window than wait until the summer because he's desperate to keep him at the club. And Ryan Fraser's actually come out and spoke as well. And he said, I've got no future at Newcastle. He says, when you go on loan, he says, that's when you know your future's up. He says, and he says, I'm happy here at Southampton. He says, and hopefully they get promoted this season. I mean, look, if Southampton want to come in and say pay 2 to 5 million from him, then yeah, take it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, but
get him off the wage bill.
I think it's the likes of Paul Dummett and Matt Ritchie, and I think that if we got a decent offer for Kraft, sort of like what we paid for him, 5 million, we'd take it now because I think we've got a cover at fullback. These are the players those are the fringe players that are hard to get rid of. If we've got an offer for Gillespie, I'd take that.
Yeah. Tanji says, if Phillips can go to Man City for 50 million, hardly kicking a football since the last Euros, then Longstaff is close to that value, playing way more games.
I mean, I think the problem with Longstaff is, as you said, he'll only have a year left on his contract.
That's the thing, yeah. And
Yeah. I don't think
you
it'll
can't get
drop his
dollar.
value as much as you think, but that does affect the value.
Derek says Garassi's a no-brainer for me. Saudi loanees are non-starter. He says it'll cost them millions in tax unless they stop their foot. Yeah, true. I think. I mean, the thing with Jordan Henderson, it looks like he could be on his way to Ajax, but he's also said he's keen to join Bayern Munich. I'm not sure Thomas Tuchel really wants Jordan Henderson. He's just took Eric Dyer. But, I mean, look, yeah, those players, if they come back to England, they're going to get hammered with a 45% tax built in. They don't want that. So it's nearly half their income gone. Tristan says, no, it's not Roly. It's a vote system. If 14 votes get to rid of FFP, it's gone.
Yeah, I'm not. I know that is a 14 vote system, but you're not going to get the 14 votes.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. You're not going to get the 14 votes to get rid of it.
Yeah, says Firmino, 3 goals in 17 appearances in Saudi.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a great record, but there again, if he's not settled and he says he wants to leave, that's going to affect his game.
Yeah.
And we know the quality that is a quality player.
Oh, God, yeah. We've seen it for Liverpool many a time. Yeah. He scored against us last season at Anfield, remember? So we know he's got the quality. Bias says, if it was Liverpool and Spurs that stopped the takeover, not 14 teams. The big 6 are super powerful, hence the tiny fine for the Super League. Absolutely, yeah, you hit that nail on the head. That fine for them was sod all, and it was stupid, really. It wasn't worth it. Gary says, good evening, everybody. Hope we're all well. Yeah, absolutely, mate. I hope you're well, too. Tristan says, Leeds, Portsmouth, even Sunderland kept pushing their wages to keep their top players and feel free. There should be escrow like Chelsea have had that belt spend $2 billion in 10 years. And he says,
Chelsea being right one first.
It was UEFA who changed the FFP to 90, then 80%.
That's for European
and
competitions.
Yeah.
You've got to remember there's FFP in 2 places. You've got the Premier League's FFP, and you've also got the UEFA FFP. It's both slightly different, but they. Yeah, we're looking at the Premier League FFP.
Alan says, evening, guys. Good evening, Alan. Hope you're well. He says, FFP makes it very hard for anyone to catch up with the income of the top 6. When you see accounts the other day, the tune is way behind. Will take time, absolutely, Alan.
Yeah.
You know, but we're on the right trajectory. That's the thing at the end of the day. So we're getting there.
I mean, because the last 2 accounting cycles have increased our turnover by 40% in each of them. We're still, I think they said the turnover is about 250 million, and we're still 200 million behind Spurs.
Paul Gardner says Longstaff isn't good enough to where we want to be.
It's good enough for where we are. I mean, there are players that aren't good enough for where we want to go. But as I say, Rome wasn't built in a day, and we're not going to get there at lightning speed because we're restricted.
Tristan says Dummett's a better centre back than Lascelles, so we have cover.
I totally disagree with you on that.
Although saying that, Kraft did play well against Man United as centre half, so didn't have a bad game.
He said Dummett, but I've got nothing against Paul Dummett, but I think that Lascelles is a far better centre half than him. I mean, you're entitled to that opinion, but I disagree with you.
Derek says Shonyo's been shown up for what he is because the other 10 players have been knackered and unable to press the way they did when he looked instrumental in what they were achieving. I actually go along with that, Derek. Yeah. I mean, look at the chances he missed against Sunderland last week. He should have buried some of them.
Last season, when he was playing well, he was missing chances.
That game is James Scott against Leeds when we drew 0-0 when he should have scored a bag full. We should have beat them.
Yeah, he's one of these players that he gets into the position, but his finishing isn't as good as you'd hope. I mean,
Yeah.
he is one of these. As the project goes, he's one of these intermediate players, one of these players that's there to take us to the next stage and then become either a backup or move on. He's not the future in midfield for us. You're looking at Tonali and Miley, and everyone else that we bring in will be that future. He's the stepping stone.
Yeah. Gary says, so I missed something. Is something happening? What's the news? It's we're just discussing about the FFP. Gary, you know the club. You know, obviously Eddie House saying there's no money there. Paul Hansen says, evening lads, that was me on Facebook. Good evening, Paul. All right, no worries, mate. David says, if we continue to raise the revenue, the current 40% rate will hit 490 million in 2 seasons. That does not include Seller, Adidas and Champions League earnings, so we are well on our way to break the mold. Yeah. Absolutely, David. Yeah, well said.
The only other thing we need is to be getting those young players coming through that aren't necessarily good to make the first team, but we can get good money for. You look at
also Roly,
Burnley tonight. What did Man City get for him? It was about 20 million.
The other thing you're forgetting, Roly, as well, you're saying about Kraft and Dummett, about Lascelles saying we can't get rid of him, we need a replacement. Actually, we don't need a replacement for Lascelles if we sold him in January, Roly. We've got Dan Burn who can play there as well. Remember, Dan Burn's a centre-half as well. So we're well stocked for centre-halves, Roly, so we're fine.
Yeah, fair point. But I think what it is...
So hang on, Roly, if you want me to... Hang on, let me reel off. So we've obviously got Sharon Botman, who are the first choice starters at the moment. So you got Lascelles, but if Lascelles goes, this is who you've got in reserve, who you can't play at centre-back. Emil Kraft, Paul Dummett, Dan Burn, Alex Murphy, the youngster, So there's 4 straight away, Roly. So,
I see the point you made. I just think there's a big drop-off when you once, obviously, Burn and Lascelles are probably of a similar level, but I think there's quite a big drop-off after that. They could do a job. I think probably the best way to describe it is what I said about the Lascelles last transfer windows, that I don't have a problem with him as a backup playing a few games, but I wouldn't like to have him as the main centre half for playing a considerable number of games. Well, he's proved me wrong there because he's been really good. I'd say the same about Emil Kraft. For a few games, I don't have a problem with him, but it's not sort of someone you want to rely on. But hey, they could prove me wrong. I say I'm not a genius. It's just it's my thoughts on the players. I think that when you got obviously Botman and Shah, then there's a drop off with Burn and Lascelles. Then I think there's a massive drop off to the likes of excuse me, Dummett and Kraft, but they can do a job.
Mm.
And I think the other thing is I'm loath to sell him so cheaply.
Who Lascelles? Well, we only paid 4 million for him or something, didn't we? So,
but it's worth. We paid 1.5. I think we got him when we got Cardano.
We got him in Darlow for 5 million joint fee. Yeah.
So it's just that it's worth more than we get now. But we'll see what they do. We'll see.
We'll see because Besiktas may come back. Well, they haven't. I don't think they've put any bids or anything in yet for him. But I know it is being widely tipped that Besiktas are looking at themselves anyway. So, like Derek says, if Lascelles signs a new deal, he won't go anywhere because his new wages would be unmatchable by anyone willing to buy him. And that's a very good point, Derek, because the thing is, look at how many players are on these huge contracts, like Jacob Murphy, on these huge wages, all because the fat controller decided to give all these players big contracts. And this is why the likes of Ryan Fraser, it's hard to get rid of these players so easily. This is why the likes of Jeff Hendrick has gone out on loan again this season to Sheffield Wednesday when his contract runs out at the end of the season. We're still paying his wages, and it's the only way we can get rid of them by running their contracts don. The same with Isaac Hayden, you know.
Yeah,
So look, at the end of the day, I absolutely agree with Derek on that one. And to be honest with you, I don't really want the Cells sign the new deal, if I'm honest. And it's not because I've got anything against the Cells, because he's been great for us. But if we want to go to the next level, Roly, the Cells is not the next level player. I am very
I know. But look, my point is not so much giving him a contract to keep him; it's giving a contract to preserve his value, so that we can get more in the summer than he can now. That's simple as that. It's not about thinking that he's going to take us anywhere other than we are now. And I think that
Christian says the Cells isn't an asset. He's a £5 million player. He's a write-off.
I totally disagree with that. I think you're really underselling him. How good has he been this season? He's been.
I don't think 5 million's a bad offer. If somebody comes in with 5 million, take it and run.
You can get more for him. I
You
don't
can't
like
roll. He's only got 6 months on his contract. You ain't going to go for more than that.
That's why I'd give him another year and then sell him in the summer and get 15. That helps FFP more.
But then you've got to put his wages up, Roly. Who's going to touch his? Who's going to match his wages then?
There'll be teams, especially the way he's performed this season. There are teams in the lower half of the Premier League that snap him up.
Yeah, but there won't be to pay the wages he's on, will there? That's what we're trying to say, Roly.
He's not on massive wages. It's not nearly our top earner. It's like someone said that Jacob Murphy's on massive wages. It's not. He's on. You got to remember that we pay good wages, but we're nowhere near the sort of like top Premier League payers. So most of the clubs, the likes of Crystal Palace or the mid-table clubs, Forest, they'd be able to afford his wages. He's good enough to pay in the Premier League. He's good enough to pay in the Premier League, so they'd be able to afford his wages. It's when the problem with the wages is when the players are Championship standard, because the Championship teams can't pay those sort of wages.
Yeah, the Cells is currently on 40 grand a week.
Yeah, that's not massive for a Premier League player. It's good money, but it's not massive.
Yeah, but there's nobody's going to sign a contract for 40 grand a week still, is he? He's going to want more money to sign a new deal.
Maybe, but...
because he's 30 years of age. Jacob Murphy's on 35 grand a week.
Yeah, that's not a lot. Especially, I mean, the thing, I mean, you've got people, was it Palace and Forest were asking about Jacob Murphy. They've inquired about him apparently, and we said we want 25 million for him, which I think
Ryan Fraser's 42 grand a week.
Well, that's well overplayed.
Tony Ross says, evening, Tony and Roly. Good evening to you, mate. Hope you're well. Mad Max, I feel injuries has held us back and don't want to come out and say it, but Barnes, Tino, Gordon, Miley, all future of our club. Would the club be looking at selling the likes of Longy now if it's not for the injuries? Do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised because, look, why would that story come out the other day that we were looking to sell Longstaff? Why would that story come out? There's no reason for that story to have come out. The only reason is somebody's got to know something going on somewhere and it's been leaked. So, look, at the end of the day, this is what the club are looking at. You know, the club are looking at that and thinking, well, actually, Longstaff, if we sell him, look, if you go back to when he played under Rafa, Man United wanted to pay 50 million quid for Longstaff at the time. And then he got that injury, didn't he? So, look, the thing is, if the club in the summer get an offer for Longstaff and they think, yeah, that's decent enough, they'll sell him. And the thing is, at the end of the day, the club will have their own valuation of what they value Longstaff at. And at the end of the day, they'll say yes or no to whoever is coming in for him. And do you know what? I think, you know, look, even if Longstaff went to someone like a West Ham, I could see him playing for them. But the thing is, at the end of the day, when you sell an academy player, everything you're getting is 100% because that player's come through your academy. Where if you're buying a player, you've put money into buying that player, so your FFP doesn't get,
I think
gets dented a bit. But on the
from
academy side, it's a lot better. But the likes of Lewis Miley, we're looking to tie him down to a long-term contract because Liverpool are now sniffing around him.
yeah, I mean from the obviously academy players, you get all of the all of the money goes to the
100% profit, Roly.
yeah. I think on the players that you bought, it all depends on how much you got to basically take off what you still owe on the player.
Yeah.
So if you've had like someone like the sales, if you sold him, we'd get all the money because he's been with the club with it 10 years.
BS says we need to push Murphy, Seal 25 million, Mickey 30 million to Saudi, the sells 10 million, Gillespie box of chocolates. I mean, look.
A small box of chocolates.
I mean, look, I think if Murphy had been fit, I think he would have been gone in this window, in all honesty, because Forest and Palace wanted him, didn't they? So, I would have been more tempted to say to Palace, would you take a Part X, take Murphy and we'll take Elise for Murphy plus a bit of money. That probably would have worked, but I don't think so. But anyway, yeah, you're absolutely right there, Bia. You're absolutely right there. Max says, I'll keep Botman at the back and Isak in attack. Absolutely, mate. Andrew, good evening. Good evening, Andrew. Long time since you've been on the channel, mate. Welcome back.
Yeah, well.
Half a box beer. Yeah,
a small box.
Trevor says, what I heard is Bruno is leaving. I'll wait till I heard Henderson is on a seagull to Sunderland. Well, no, there's no talk. Well, there's a talk around Bruno going, but the thing is, I think a lot of people have misheard what Darren Neils was saying. And he says, what you got to do is you got to play a trade to get your FFP back up. But he didn't single out and say it's one of the big players, because when you want to be in the league club, you do not sell your best players. Simple as. If we went out and sold Bruno in the summer, or Botman or Isak, one of those three, what is the point of doing that? Because where are we going to go from there? We're going to have to look for somebody who are as good or if not better. And the thing is, there's not many out there who are. So the thing is, at the end of the day, we do not want to sell those. Plus, Bruno's already said himself, he's happy where he is. He loves Newcastle, he loves the city and everything.
This is a name.
So why is Bruno going to leave? And plus, even if the release clause is hit, Bruno can turn around and say, I don't want to move. And that's fine. Door shut. Simple as.
I mean, they're players that are saleable. And so this one, if we got a decent bid for Elliot Anderson in the summer, would you sell him?
Who, Elliot Anderson?
Yeah.
Well, he's been injured, hasn't he, a lot this season?
Yeah.
So,
and I think the other thing is there's more potential in Lewis Miley than there is in Elliot Anderson. So if you're going to let one of the young ones go, he'd be the one.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can see your point on that. That's fair enough because look, Miley's come through and he he's played games and he's proved himself. I mean, look, if somebody wanted Elliot Anderson, but I'll give him another season. The lad's had injuries. He's been unlucky this season with that back injury. He didn't do too bad when he was in the team. So yeah, I would say.
I mean, if you've got a decent offer, I think we'd let him go. I can see why you want to keep him another season, but I think because if we need to generate money from transfers, he is a saleable asset. If we get a decent offer, I could see them letting him go in the summer. Maybe him and something like him and Jacob Murphy. You could get in the region of 40 million for the pair. That's a decent chunk towards FFP because obviously that 40 million starts all at once. you get that in. But when you're buying players, it's spread over the contract, so that could cover a couple of decent quality players. And plus, obviously, we're going to be getting more money coming in as well. I think the other thing you've got to remember is that it's going to be, I think it's next season, they'll have the stack that they're going to be building on Strawberry Place for the fan zone, which is going to be open 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be generating income for the club as well. So
yeah,
it's not all doom and gloom. It's a bit, I mean, it is frustrating, particularly in this window. And I don't think we'd be as frustrated if we didn't have as many long-term injuries as we do. That's the problem.
Gary said, I hope Gateshead don't sign Henderson. Derek says, I'm sure Gateshead aren't that stupid. Derek says, the only player I wouldn't sell for the right price is J7. He's a replaceable for us. Absolutely, Derek. Absolutely, 100%. If we sold J7, who would be the replacement? There's nobody. I'm sorry, there isn't, because he's absolutely a beast. And I totally agree with that. He's irreplaceable. Alan says, injuries are definitely affecting any progress this season. Tonali missing. The improvements brought in the summer unable to use apart from Tino. Yeah, absolutely, mate. I totally agree with you on that one. Right. We're just going to go into what Eddie Howe said today. So Eddie Howe obviously had his pre-match press conference ahead of the City game. And so on Man City and Guardiola, he says, look, they are the team to beat. Their record in recent seasons has been incredible. They have the best manager in the world. Their style of play is difficult to combat, but I believe we can really compete in this game. I mean, look, last season we competed well against Man City. We were 3-1 up. They came back to a 3-3 draw. It was a very entertaining game. And this time it's under the lights. And I would love to see another entertaining game like that. And basically what Eddie Howe's saying there is, we can compete in this game. Look, when we went the Etihad, we only lost 1-0. We weren't, we weren't hammered or anything. So, and it's at home. So let's see what happens tomorrow. On Joe Linton's injury setback, he said, look, it's not good. It's an injury that he will see him miss a minimum of 6 weeks. It is a real blow for us. He's such an important player. He's had a problem with the tendon in his quad. He is very disappointed. He wants to play and do well. We have had to try and pick him up. He is our midfield driving force. It is a big blow. It's a massive blow. Not just a big blow. It's a massive blow. And for 6 weeks, it's absolutely gut-wrenching to lose a player of his quality. He took a knock in that Sunderland game off one of their players. So can always blame Mackham for this. But yeah, I mean, look, very, very disappointing that he's not going to be, around for 6 weeks. But who knows? It depends on what his recovery is like. He could come back a bit sooner, but let's hope. On the other injury, on the fitness of fellow absentees like Elliot Anderson and Joe Willock, he says they're not expected to be back anytime soon. He says Elliot is continuing his rehab from a stress fracture in his back, which is a difficult injury to manage for him. He's not been very active for a long period of time, so he's trying to let his back heal. He's got another scan next week, so hopefully that will give us some good news when he can start to build up his work. But with Joe Willock, he's improving. He's building up the strength in his Achilles and he's looking better, but he's still not running at the moment. So again, we don't know. We don't have any return date for those two. He was asked about Cher extending his contract. He says, look, he's very confident without being arrogant. He believes in himself. He is the same as a person. He is a great guy. I have built a great relationship with him. He is very intelligent. I think his intelligence comes across on the pitch. He makes very good decisions. He is technically outstanding. Fabian deserves this new deal, and hopefully it's the start of another good period for him. Absolutely, Fabian Cher has been absolutely amazing for us. An absolute bargain when we paid just over $3 million for him through a release clause, a relegation clause, in fact. But yeah, he's been absolutely fantastic for us, and we're just so pleased he's tied down for another year. We know he has got a job outside of football. Well, he's got a job at his former club where he started his career at, FC Ville in Switzerland. So once he hangs up his boots, he will be taking up a role in the boardroom as a director at that football club. On getting to 650 games in management, which is a milestone Eddie Howe will reach on Saturday. He says, look, I have a little smell when I hear that number because it's a lot of games. Feels like it's gone by in a flash. It certainly doesn't feel like that many. I remember when I started management, everybody talked about my age and how inexperienced I was. In the end, I got tired of those questions. So how now it's the other way around, and it absolutely. The injuries not great. We don't know when some players are going to be back. It's going to be quite a while before some of them are back in the fold. We did hear Eddie Howe say there's no truth that we went for Solanke. And he says we can't afford him, basically. Now, I know a lot of people look at that and say, well, why can't you afford him? You got rich owners. Yeah, we got rich owners, but we just can't go out and blow that sort of money because you're not allowed to. There's them three letters again, FFP, which keeps coming back to bite you in the backside. Look, when the Solanke rumours came out, I was not convinced, in all honesty. For me, it's not a signing I would like to see at Newcastle United. He's had a great season for Bournemouth. Yes, we understand that. 12 goals in 19 games. It's a great return. But he hasn't done that on a regular basis. And my feeling would have been if we'd spent that so much money, like 70 million was what was being bandied about, if we'd spent that on that player and he flops next season, then it's a huge loss because, who's going to buy him? And that's the problem. So you'd find that you're going to lose a lot of money, which then dents your FFP further back. Now, someone like Garassi, who obviously I spoke about and Derek spoke about earlier on in the chat, the thing with Garassi is £15 million. Well, 15.2 million is his release clause. That is a risk worth taking because, look, if he comes in and he does the job, he bangs goals in, but then say next season he has a lean spell and he doesn't score a lot, you could more or less get nearly that 15 million back, so you're not making a huge loss on him. Whereas with Solanke, it's, I would say, more of a risk. And to be honest with you, I think it's better if Solanke stays at Bournemouth. We know Eddie Howe signed him from Liverpool. But, there's a reason why players like this get sold by clubs is because clubs don't think they're good enough. What was your thoughts on the Solanke rumour? Were you happy about that, or were you like, oh, not for me?
I think the 70 million is just one of those figures that are bandied out there to put people off buying him. He's not worth that. He's actually got quite similar attributes to Callum Wilson. If you, I don't know if you can get out his, the spider chart of his abilities, but if you match him with Callum Wilson, they're a very close match. This is probably why Eddie likes him. As a replacement, an eventual replacement for Callum Wilson, I wouldn't have much of a problem because Isak is going to be on starting striker whilst be the main striker. So anyone you're getting is a backup for Isak.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends on the price. If you can get him at a decent price, which isn't 70 million, I wouldn't have too much problem because he's not going to be. It's not like we're going to be relying on him to score all the goals or be our main goal scorer, and he's not going to be playing as much as he is at Bournemouth. So as a backup at the right price, it could be a decent option. but it's got to be at the right
Yeah,
price.
yeah, absolutely. Would be says transfer market's got Longstaff at 25 million. Would you take that? I would actually.
Yeah, I probably would. I think we could probably get, if you had more in his contract, we'd probably get more. But yeah, I think that's a fair price.
Yeah. What the two need is a goalkeeper. I mean, look, I think we still need a goalkeeper in because if Dubravka gets an injury, okay, we've got Karius. But what happens if Karius picks up a knock? We've then got Gillespie. It's not really a great look, is it? And let's be honest. The last time Gillespie played, when he played a game against not Newport County, he was absolutely bloody poor in that game against them. He was atrocious. So and that was under Cabbage. We only just won that on penalties. But look, yeah, I still see we need a keeper. De Gea's out there, and he's not earning money at the moment. So whatever he's offered, I'm sure he'll take because look, at the end of the day, he's not earning. He's sitting on his ass too. Well, he's obviously training, but
no, he's on such good wages at Man United. It's not as if he's going to be struggling for money.
Gary says, if FFP is such a huge obstacle, don't you think the owners should have seen this when they bought us? Therefore, you can't blame Eddie or the team for not progressing at the rate everyone demands. Yeah, I mean, look, when they've done their due diligence, they would have saw this. But
and that's
I think what they saw was they saw an opportunity to make Newcastle a global brand, as they call it, because that's what they call football clubs now, brands. Now then, the only way to get this FFP up is to keep getting your sponsorship in. And this is a problem. Under Ashley for 14 years, he done nothing. He just had his own sponsorship in there, which he wasn't paying a penny for. And I don't know if anybody saw the FA Cup last week, but if you saw the FA Cup, if you look at Coventry's ground, he's got his signage all around there now. Not Sports Direct, by the way, it's Fraser's Plus. So he's got that advertised everywhere. And he won't be paying a penny for that because he owns a stadium. And obviously, whenever the stadium naming rights are up, I bet it'll be his name that goes above that, on that stadium. So it'll be whatever arena he wants to call it, He probably won't call it the Sports Direct Arena, but he may call it, say, the Fraser's Arena or something like that, or Flannels or whatever. But anyway, our owners are looking at 14 years of mismanagement, and it's a lot to catch up on of what he's done. And it's not just the fact of not having the revenue coming in. It's the way he conducted the transfers as well. Because what he was doing was he was paying the fee straight out. Rather, he thought it was great to just pay the fee straight out. He says, no, I'm not going to pay it in installments. I pay it straight out. He says, why do you need to pay it in installments when you've got the money? And I'm thinking, yeah, but that's for FFP reasons. That's why you pay it in installments, because it helps your FFP. But him in his wisdom thought it was great. Let's just pay the 21 straight out for Miggy. Let's pay the 40 million straight out for Joe Linton. And it doesn't work like that. And I don't know where he's got this idea from that worked. But anyway,
I think he thought that he could get by paying all the money up front, he could actually get a lower overall fee.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think the other thing you got to think about the owners is when they came in, they said they want to be competing and trying to win the league in the next 5 to 10 years. So they weren't expecting a quick fix for the problems. They're obviously seeing what's happened. And I think part of it is we've been spoiled because we did so well last season. It's a little bit of a disappointment. But if you're looking at a 5 to 10 year plan from where we were when they took over, where we are now is probably where they had us in the plan.
Derek says, dumb it's easy as good as Lascelles, in my honest opinion. And do you know what? I actually agree with you. Because, look, against Man United at Old Trafford, Dummett and Kraft were the centre-backs, and Man U had a strong team out that night, and Did Man U really get a sniffer goal? Not really, no. I thought them two were excellent at the centre half position.
You look at
This is what
Lascelles
I'm
when he
saying.
played Man City last season. He bullied Haaland. He controlled Haaland, best striker in the country. I mean, I don't. I'm not saying that they're Dummett and Kraft are bad players. I just think that Lascelles is a lot better than either of them.
And that's why I'm
His
saying
goals is. I mean, you look at the way he's performed this season. If
if
he
you
was,
get if Lascelles goes to Besiktas,
yeah,
I would if Besiktas come in and say, right, there you go, we'll give you 5 million for Lascelles now, take it or leave it.
I'd
If
want
I'm
10.
Newcastle United, I'm saying take it and sell him, get rid, because
I'm
he's out of
reluctant to.
contract in the summer.
I know what you're saying, but
I,
I'm
I know
I'm just
you're
reluctant
too
to sell.
sentimental, Roly. That's your problem.
It's not. It's not about sentiment. It's not about sentiment. It's about value. He's
Well,
worth
yeah,
more than
£5
5
million.
million. He's worth a lot more than £5 million. If they said
No, he
10,
isn't, Roly. He's only got 6 months on his contract.
he
Eric
is.
Dyer's just gone
He's
to
a
Bayern Munich on loan for 3.4 million because he's
well,
out of contract in the summer.
guy has gone on loan for. Look, did you just see? You said he's gone on loan for 3.5 million, and you say we should sell Lascelles for 5, and I'd have Lascelles over Dyer every day of the week.
Yeah, but
It's
Dyer's in it, national centre half.
but he's been crap for the last 2 years.
Although he hasn't been in the England team for quite a long while now.
Yeah,
Southgate doesn't pick him now.
he's been crap. I mean, Lascelles is playing well. He's worth more than 5 million, even with a year left on his
Well,
contract.
he's not even got a year on his contract. He's only got 6 months, Roly.
Yeah.
Runs out in June.
If Besiktas come in, if they come in with 5 million, I'll try and get them closer to 10, because I think that with 6, but he's worth that. It's not about sentiment; it's about getting the true value for the player. And I think we can get more money for Lascelles than 5 million.
I think
I
would
think
be Farmer agrees with you because he says Lascelles is huge for this team. He wears the captain's armband for a reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still on the thing. If they come in with an offer for Lascelles, you take it and sell. Simple as.
I think that it depends what the offer is. But I
And
think
Tanji
5
says
million is not enough.
if you give Lascelles another year on his contract, Besiktas will then say, "Oh, forget it," and see if we'll come back next year.
Yeah, and we could get more for him then. I mean, I think my personal view is that Lascelles is a sale for the summer. If we get, I would get him a year's extension and sell him in the summer, and then we could get 10 to 15 for him rather than the 5 that you want now. 10 to 15 in the summer helps us more than 5 now.
Yeah, but like Tanji's just said, and he's absolutely right. Besiktas would say, "Do you know what? We'll wait till January because he won't go anywhere. So they'll wait till January and do it all over again. So what's the
They might
point?"
do, but you'll have other teams, Premier League teams, that'll be wanting, especially the way he's performed this season.
Who would want him?
Who would want him? I think he's better than any. He's better than most of the centre halves at Everton if they stay up. He's better than I won't say Paris, but he's actually performed better than any of the centre halves at Chelsea this season. But that's not saying much. But Forest, he could do a job there. Bournemouth, he could do a job. He's better than their centre halves. There are a number of clubs in the lower half of the Premier League that he would, if they bought him, he'd be their best centre half. That's my opinion. I think there are teams at the bottom of the Premier League. I mean, there's talk that
Derek doesn't agree with you, though. He says if he thinks a mid-table Premier League teams would snap him up.
I said lower half of the table. The lower half of the table, you do a good job down there, and there are teams that would snap it. I mean, Palace have got 2 good centre halves, so they wouldn't. but there are teams where in the bottom half of the table that he'd be better.
Gary says, Roly, if you think 35 grand a week isn't a lot on wages, you must have had some pretty tasty jobs.
For a Premier League footballer, it's not a lot for a Premier League footballer.
Mad Mag says, Roly's jobs are commission based. He's in the scout in the Belgian league. It's a great league, the Belgian league. It really is, isn't it? Bruno said on Twitter he's staying at Newcastle. Derek says, look at the Hammers and Villa, Grealish and Rice, better teams without them. That's the thing, yes. Look, Rice went for 105 million in the summer. Look how well West Ham's done. Look at the money they've invested. They've brought in Kudus, they've brought in Alvarez, you know. They've improved that team. James Ward-Prowse has massively improved their team. You know, and the thing is, you know, yes, they sold Rice, and at the time the West Ham fans weren't happy about it, but the team's evolved because they've managed to bring in Alvarez for a third of what they sold Declan Rice for, and he's just as good. I like Edson Alvarez. I would have had him at Newcastle United. He's absolutely right, and Villa as well. They sold Grealish. Look how they've evolved since they sold Grealish for 100 million quid. You know, so it just shows you.
I think Villa's evolution is more to do with Unai Emery than doing a similar job at Villa as Eddie did.
Well, Steven Gerrard weren't going to be that great of a manager, let's be honest.
Yeah, I know that. And obviously had Dean Smith before, who was crap. And they were the managers that spent a lot of the initial impact of the Grealish money. And Grealish has sold more because he wanted to go than anything else. And they could get
Derek says you're getting out for Anderson because he's not proved nothing yet.
Not at the Premier League level, but there are teams crying out for him before. We get money. We get a decent money for Anderson.
Do you reckon?
Yeah. Well, 10, 15, because with Anderson, you're paying for the potential as well as his current ability, because he's still a young lad.
Paul says, keep Anderson and Miley all day, two different types of players for a start, but sell Longstaff and Miggy in the cells, etc.
Well, I think those are sales that you'd look for in the summer. Right?
Tanji says Longstaff and Miggy in exchange for Neto from Wolves would be a good idea, perhaps. Do you know what? I'd take Neto from Wolves, absolutely. What a winger he is.
Equalised in stoppage time.
Have they?
Yes, 1-1. They've been knocking on the door.
Yeah, they've been the better team, haven't they?
But the Burnley players are arguing with the ref.
Yeah. Bayern Munich are winning 3-0. Well, they've won 3-0. 2 goals from Musiala and 1 from Harry Kane. Surprise, surprise. Question, says would be Farmer. Do you wonder if football players are concerned about coming here because it's a voodoo injury curse? Do you know what it is? Right, we've got rid of the physio now. We've sent them on extended parental leave, paternity leave. But look, my concern is, are these being rushed back too quickly and they're breaking down and they're out longer? Is it the medical team that's to blame here? You know, and I think the medical team are just guessing, the players will probably say to the medical team, yeah, I'm fit, okay then, right, okay, we'll play you then. And they're breaking down. It is a concern.
I think this one's going to be chalked off with VAR.
What, Luton's equaliser?
Yeah, because Chaffers come out and the defender stepped across him, so he's run into him. It's a case of whether he thinks he's blocked him off. It's a case of whether they think that he's fouled the keeper, which they normally do.
Yeah.
I think that he's moved across him, and he hasn't got to get out the keeper's way. So why should we disallow it? But I think they're going to disallow it. Well, I could be wrong. You never can tell with VAR.
Yeah.
Well, they've
I mean,
allowed
they'll
it.
be level on.
They've
Hey,
allowed it. They've allowed it.
yeah, there you
I
go.
thought they might
They're level
rule
on
it in.
points for Everton now.
Yeah, it's one of those ones he stepped across the keeper. But normally, when you make contact with the keeper, they give it to the keeper.
Yeah,
He's got no obligation to let the keeper get the way of the keeper.
do you know what? Do you know what, Derek? I actually like that. I like that idea because I think you could play well there. I'd play Shaw as a defensive midfielder tomorrow with Big Dan Burnett centre half alongside Botman and Tino left back. Do you know what? I actually like that. I like that idea. That would be a great idea because Cher has played as a DM before.
He's not played there for ages. I mean,
Yeah, but you've got that protection there though, because Cher will
I
protect
mean
that area.
that's the problem we've got.
Then you could leave
Hey,
Miley on the bench. You see.
Mm. Yeah, we're so depleted in the middle of the park. I can see why you might want to potentially do that. Is Lascelles still injured? Is Lascelles still
Yeah.
injured? Yeah. Okay.
No, he was on the bench last week, wasn't he, against the Mackhams?
I was on the bench. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
he was on the bench against the Mackhams.
with Dooku potentially playing, I wouldn't want to see him up against Stan Byrne at left back. I'd rather play Tino there. But we'll see what we do.
David says, give Lascelles an extension, sell him on next season for 15 million in the summer, then invest a 5-year amortized deal for improvements in the squad.
Yeah, that's someone agrees with me.
Yeah. I mean, Roly, sorry, before I get to that, thank you, Tony. He's gifted 10 black and white memberships. Thank you very much indeed, my friend. Very, very kind of you to do that. So 10 more people will be added as members. And as I say, that is a random thing. It is not like all members are random. So I don't know who's been added. So I'll have a look and I will tell you who the new members are, courtesy of Tony Ross, which is lovely. Thank you very much. So these are the people who have been given memberships. That is William Joblin, Duncan Disorderly, Harry Layla, Dick Blake, Lazy X, Jez, Dodzilla, Glasgow Prank TV, Lee, and Stephen Nicholson as well. So yeah, thank you very much, Tony, for that. Yeah, because Glasgow Prank, he came on the stream last week when I'd done the Sunderland pre-match, and he was laughing that they had Michael Beale as manager because he says he's absolutely awful, and you know, he's absolutely right. He is an awful manager. Mo Salah, KDB were both sold by Chelsea because they thought they weren't good enough, and now look at them, two of the best players that's ever played in the Premier League. Yeah, that was Chelsea though, wasn't it? You know, they bought Young at the time and thought they were great, but didn't work out. Isak won't be sold. To sell him, you're looking at 150 as we paid 68 million. Yeah, you're looking at huge money for Isak. Absolutely. Yeah, goalkeepers are last place we need to be scarce with our pennies. Yeah, absolutely. Tonali next season also big time. Yeah, absolutely. I saw one fan today and I just thought, why have you put that out there? We should sell Tonali in the summer. And I thought, well, why? You know, If I don't know if you saw the training video against the Man City game, but he's in there training, and he looks really happy. He's there training, and so look, at least the lad still got a smile on his face. And at the end of the day, we look forward to seeing him next season. Paul says the owners did see the issues with FFP, hence the new sponsors. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think what we need to get now is we could do with is a training kit sponsor, a training ground sponsor, and a stadium sponsor as well, a stadium name sponsor. Now, they want to keep St James's Park, but add a name to it. I ain't got a problem with that. Because if that's bringing revenue in season after season, I ain't got a problem with that. If it was like a Ramco at St James's Park, I don't care. Because it's still St James's Park. It'll always be St James's Park regardless. But the fact is, even if that name's in front of St James's Park, but say that brings in, say, 30-40 million pound a season, that's still a great go. So, that's what we need to see. We need to see them coming in more. So that's what we need to do. I mean, look, I haven't got a problem with them doing that as long as they do it the right way.
I mean, the naming, I don't have a problem with how they do it, to be honest. Mainly because I know is that the money will go into the team. With the fat controller, if you had managed to sell the naming rights, that money wouldn't be invested in the team. With these owners, that it will. Everything they're doing is to enable us to improve the squad. So obviously, I'd like to keep St James's Park in the name, but if we've got an extra sort of like 5-10 million a year, and they take it out, because that it's going into the team, I don't have so much of a problem with it.
Yeah. Mad Max says, Roly's rattled. Go on, Tony. Now tell him you'll sell De Brac for 2 million on a toffee apple. He's rattled because he knows I'm right. MF the Villain says...
I disagree, but yeah.
MF the Villain.
I want to...
I gather he says Lascelles is worth more than 5 million. I would rather keep him.
Yeah. I think it's the issue of his contract is the problem. If his contract's up in the summer, you either sell him now for what you can get, or you extend him and sell him in the summer.
I really don't want to give him a new contract in the summer. Colton says, we are better than Man United, Chelsea, even Spuds. We beat Arsenal and Man City as well at home. Yeah, absolutely. Agree, Lascelles is worth the same as Longy, if not more, says Mad Mag. In the blue corner, we have Tony. In the red corner, we have Roly. Tristan says, Roly, are you on some drugs, mate? Because 6 games he's played, you need to watch football. You're waffling.
6 games he's played?
Lascelles, I think he means.
He's played more than 6 games. And he's been good. And he's been up against some of the best. He's played Champions League. And you remember we were in the toughest group in the Champions League, and he held his own.
Paul says, I can't see him going to Turkey with all that racist stuff going on. I could see him in Forest though. So yeah. Derek says you're not going to be at the summer in the summer because he'll only sign for 50k a week plus, and no one would want him to pay that wages, so he wouldn't go.
Well, I think there'll be teams that take him on that wages, because for a Premier League team, that's not. I mean, there are not many teams that's going to be the top 8 wage earner. I mean, it's an average Premier League wage.
Paul says, to be honest, I think Tonali will be back at Milan this summer for 50 million.
Why do you think that?
I don't think he will be.
Yeah.
Derek says he'd rather have Chang from Wolves.
Yeah, he's been on fire this season.
He has been, yeah. He's playing in the Asia Cup this month, along with Heung Min Song. Charlotte DM, yeah. Derek says, too much of a coincidence for me if it's not the fault of the medical team. Barnes, prime example, but Murphy, Willock, and J7 come back too soon should be questioned. Yeah, I mean, look, Murphy came back, had a few minutes on the pitch against Arsenal. Obviously, his pass helped set up the goal. But look, yeah, his shoulder dropped again, and he shouldn't. I thought it was too quick when he came back. If I'm
I was
honest,
surprised. I was
Willock,
surprised.
yeah, I think Willock come back too quick maybe, and
It's a
J7,
different
yeah,
injury.
this is
With Willock, it was a
yeah,
different injury. It wasn't the same injury that was injured that he was out for first time. I think the first time at the beginning of the season was a hamstring, and this one's an Achilles. So it's a different injury. Yeah, I
Derek
think.
says he played shared DM and dropped Longstaff and not Miley.
I don't know.
Yeah, says play Paul Galantis DM. Ryan says, what's your opinion on the FFP situation? That's going on at the moment, lads. Personally, I think it's a way to protect the big six, not let anyone else break into it. It's unfair. Do you know what? I don't think it's a fair thing either. I think because of Man City, the way their owner came in and spent money, they didn't want another Man City. And when we got taken over, that's exactly what they thought we were going to be. Because without FFP, we would be a totally different team. Because you wouldn't have the likes of your Lascelles or your Dummets here. They would have been gone. You know? And that's the difference. Your Matt Ritchies would have been gone. You know? But yeah, FFP is ruining it for us. Everton deducted 10 points, but Man City and Chelsea have all these alleged cases. We haven't heard a whisper since.
Well,
Yeah,
they've not actually heard those cases yet. Man City's a difficult one because they were done by UEFA, and then they went to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, and it was overturned. The Premier League have picked it up because they have no sort of like time limit on when they can penalise clubs or take them to tribunal. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen there, whether they are actually going to get, whether they have broken any rules or what they've done. Was it strictly, is it one of those things where it's within the letter of the law, but it's not really in the spirit?
yeah,
I don't know, because I don't know, because just because I think you've got to prove that they've actually done something. And it's like you look at Chelsea with all their spending. Everyone's saying well, they're doing it over 8-year contracts. Man, that wasn't against the rules, but it was against the spirit. Now, had City done something that's against the spirit of the rules, but not actually breaking them? I mean, that's what they'll be arguing. And I don't know the details of what they've done. So it's not a foregone conclusion that they've actually done something that's illegal. But it'll come out in due course.
Yeah, absolutely, Roly. Yeah, it's just sad at the moment, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, look, we don't know what's happening, you know. We just gotta wait and see. Wait and see what happens. But FFP, I mean, it's just crazy, isn't it? You know, at the moment.
When it was brought in, it was to stop clubs overspending and going out of business, and then the bigger clubs have seen it as a way to stop other people breaking into their cartel.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the reasons for it coming in. to stop this. As I say, to stop another Man City. That's what they wanted to stop. Anyway, let's go on to something different because we're talking about FP again. Yesterday, Newcastle United put out a tweet. Yesterday would have been Christian Atsu's birthday. Sadly, somebody who played for us, we lost him last year during that horrendous earthquakes in Turkey. And such a sad day to find out when we found out he passed away. So yesterday was his birthday, and such a tragic loss for a young man. Look, I'll just put this little clip on. Look, let's have a look at some of his moments in a Newcastle shirt. Obviously not video, it's all photographs, but here we go. There we are. Remembering Christian Atsu, who sadly passed away last year. And yesterday, we hope you had a happy, heavenly birthday yesterday. Tristan says, some injuries, Roly. Willock got his Achilles injury in June, then redone it again after it healed. These are the new Hayden. To go back to the bins filled with ice. Derek says ACA was time constrained. Premier League is not. So City are saying damning emails which convicted them by UEFA were obtained illegally. Different excuse, but they're as guilty as sin.
Well, so.
And Tony says, well done, Tony, for that. No problem, mate. Thank you. Yeah, I thought. Right, Roly. Tomorrow, how do you think we're going to get on tomorrow? What's your score prediction?
Oh, dear. It's a difficult one. I think losing Joe Linton's going to be massive for us. Oh, dear. My heart says we can get something out of it. My head's not so sure. I'll go with my heart and go for a 1-1 draw.
And what's your head saying?
2 or 3-1 City. I'm just worried about, because in the last few games, we've just been so open at the back. We've been too gung-ho, going forward and attack, and then being caught out with a counter-attack. You look at the goals that we concede in the counter-attack. There are 3 against Dortmund. The 2 against Milan. You had, 3 against Liverpool. We've had no discipline in midfield to have cover. Now they've had a bit of time to do some training. Maybe they'll have sorted that out, but that's my big worry.
Yeah, I mean, look, I said on Pete's show last night, my heart says we'll draw 2-2. As much as I'd like the 3 points, but I'll take a draw now. I'll take a point all day.
Oh, absolutely.
But I said, my head says Man City will win a 3-1.
Yeah.
Let's just go into some comments. Would be Farmer says I would take a point a draw at this point. Yeah, absolutely. Derek says if we go with Bruno, Sean, and Miley, we'll get pummeled. Yeah, because I mean, look, the gaps are there, aren't they? Against Forest, it was wide open, wasn't it? Newcastle 3, City 1, says Ronald. Hi, Ronald. Hope you're well. Bia says Newcastle 3, City 2. If we play Share as a DM, Newcastle 0, City 6. Doubt it'll be that. Uh,
Not
Tony
anyway.
Rossi is sorry to say 4 to City. Paul Gardner says a 2-1 win. I hope so, mate. Man City to win 3-0, sadly, says Gary. Woodby says we've had a week off training and training back on the road. Victory, that's enough. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we've had a good week in training, so hopefully, yeah. You never know the confidence from last week. I mean, look, we could say it was probably a training exercise last Saturday because Sunderland were just terrible, weren't they? They were awful. You know, the fans were hoping for Sunderland to beat us, and it didn't happen, did it?
And the
In
thing is,
all honesty, we probably should have beat them about 5 or 6. In all honesty,
I mean, as I say, football's a funny old game. Yeah, I mean, City could turn up and have a mare and we can beat them, or we can play out of our skins and beat them. But
yeah,
you look at the form, you look at the play, the quality, the deficiencies we've got defensively this season. You got to think that City are going to win the game, but that doesn't mean they will. But I'm with you. I'd take a point. Take a point
yeah.
now. In some
Derek
respects,
says
the result, the performance is more important than the result.
if we go with shared, says Derek, will DM will win. Ron said that, yeah, Forest done well, but we will capitulate, man. Look, the thing is, Forest came with a game plan. They came with the game plan, and we knew what they were doing. You know, and that's the thing. Would says if we play shared DM, we might as well play Sonny as a striker. Uh, that's that. Yeah, that's brilliant, that mate. Yeah, absolutely. But,
Yeah. It's
it's going to be a tough
just
game.
clicked for me that one. I think Sonny. Oh, sure.
Yeah, Sonny and Cher. If we So tomorrow's going to be a tough game. We know it's going to be a tough game. I think I look at the team and I think, in all honesty, this is how Eddie's going to line the team up tomorrow. I think you're going to have Dubravka in goal. You're going to have Trippier, Shea, Botman, Byrne, left back. Middle three, he's going to keep that the same. He's going to keep it as Maley, Bruno, and Longstaff. And then the front three is going to be Almiron, Gordon, and Gordon, and then Isak in the middle. I think that's how he'll go. But again, we don't know. He could change it all differently.
Yeah, I think
We might see Sherrod DM tomorrow. Who knows?
But I think, I just had a thought. One of the things I didn't factor in to this game is the form that your favourite goalkeeper has been showing of late, Mr. Dubravka. If he plays like he did against Liverpool, that's no reason why we can't keep him out.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how he plays tomorrow.
I'm just trying to be positive here. There's too much negativity in this. Looking at the result, because he had a career game against Liverpool. He was superb.
Again, he'll be somebody that'll probably be sold in the summer and upgraded.
I'd expect him to go in the summer. I mean, we didn't pay much for him. How much do you think we could
4
get
million.
For 4 million?
That's how much we paid for him. Yeah.
No,
his contract ends next year.
You think we could get? Do you think we could get more than 4 million?
He's only got a year left from June, and he's only on 40 grand a week at the moment. So I'm not sure what he would be rated at.
Because when you look at the keepers in the Premier League, the keepers that he is better than, he's our backup. There are several keepers that he's better than. So, Yeah, I think we could get a bit more than 5 for him. But if we get 5, we've got our money back. I think when it comes to selling players, I want to get as much as we can, because the more we get in transfers, the better it is for the FFP. So,
Well,
I want to
Transfer
get more.
Market says he's worth €1 million.
1 million root. That's fine. That's a bit. No, it's worth well more than that. But right,
Not well, not
what
really
do I
second
know?
choice, any.
Yeah, but it's the
I'll
same
have a look.
thing as some of the keepers that are in the Premier League. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
I'll have a
start.
look on Sofa Store.
I think that's. I think that's really cheap for him. But
Not
then what?
really. It's about right, isn't it?
I think you could get more.
Uh,
But I
let's
say that about
let's
all
see.
our players.
Sofa Score saying €970,000.
It
So
just
yeah, they're
seems.
probably about right, Roly. To be fair,
It
but
just
hang
seems.
on, Roly. Weren't you the guy? Weren't you the guy? I have to find what show it was, and if I can get the video, I'll have to show it to everybody. Just because I can't remember which show it was now, but it was last year sometime. But can you remember when I said to you about Jeff Hendrick, and you said, I said, oh, we could probably sell him for about 250,000. You went, oh no, that's too cheap. We can get 2 to 3 million for Jeff Hendrick.
I think that I think I did qualify it, and that he's probably worth that. But the
You
teams
never
that
get two
want,
to 3 million for Jeff Hendrick.
teams that want him can't afford him, or can't afford that, and the teams that can don't want him. That I did qualify it, but yeah, I did say that, but I did try and qualify it as well. But I always want to get as much money as we can for players, so I'm always going to big up the prices.
Yeah. Derek says, I hope Longstaff has a game of his life and puts on his shooting boots on, and I'll never sell Dubs. Um, as long as we have no injuries, play with pride. I can't ask for much more. Absolutely, as long as we
Yeah.
try and do it and do what we can. Derek says, to be, are you taking the piss now, aren't you? Jeff Hendrick. I'll have Paul Gallant at DM. What a time for Longstaff to score a brace.
Yeah.
Yeah, even better. Tony Ross says, good night, lads. Great show. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Cheers, Tony. Thank you. He's saying cheers, Tony Ross. Sorry. Ian's in there with a £5 super chat. Thank you, Ian. He says, evening, Tony and Roly. We'll have to go at the start. No problem, mate. No problem. Yeah, because we'll be wrapping up very soon, mate. Yeah. But good evening, Ian. Hope you're well, mate. And thank you once again. You should be using spell check. Stephen says, Max, we're in the temple of play to good training session. Absolutely, Stephen. Absolutely, mate. It was a great training session there, wasn't it? But, I looked on Twitter afterwards, and if you watch on Twitter, if you haven't read any comments, go to Twitter, go to Sunderland's page, and look to where the manager spoke, and then read the comments. Because the amount of Sunderland fans who want him sacked, and they still want him sacked now, they don't want him there. Even Rangers fans are weighing in and saying, "Yeah, you're right. He's shit. He's not that great." It wasn't just after our last, and you can see why they're not happy. Because look, I'm not being funny. If that's you're playing in a derby game, now I'll ask you this question, Roly, when I've said my bit, and I'm going to ask you quickly. But look, if we're playing in a derby against Sunderland, and say for instance, we're say we're 1-0 down at half time, and team comes out and then concedes a sloppy second goal straight away. But Eddie Howe decides he's just sitting there on the bench and with his legs crossed and his arms folded, just watching the game. And you're not seeing any impact to change the game. Now, if I'd saw that anyhow, I'll be going mad. I'll be going, come on, get on that touchline, start getting the players some direction, shout at them, give them some orders. They need some sort of direction. What are you doing sitting on your arse? That's exactly what the Sunderland players said about Sunderland fans said about Michael Beale. Why the hell are you sitting on your backside when Sunderland are getting hammered and he's just sitting there as if he's just a spectator watching the football match? What would you do if that was Eddie Howe doing that? Would you be annoyed or would you be saying, oh, that's fine?
I wouldn't be happy. But the thing is, Eddie Howe is very.
No, I'm not saying you would do that, but I'm just saying, you know.
So I can understand why they're upset. You'd want to think that they're going to actually give direction to players, try and get messages across them, try and change something, or instruct players, or point out what's happening and what's going wrong, and be. I think a lot of it is more perspective.
Yeah.
Because if he's sitting down with his arms crossed and legs crossed, or just sitting down and not being animated in any way, shape, or form, it looks like he doesn't care. Whether he does or not, it just looks like he doesn't care. And I think that's the thing that upsets him, that would upset me most.
Yeah. I mean, look, Birmingham have just took on Tony Mowbray, who was sacked by Sunderland. Now, this is going to probably make people laugh in the chat when I say this, but I think this would be hilarious. It would be absolutely hilarious if Birmingham now overtake Sunderland, end up in the playoffs, and Sunderland don't even go anywhere at the end of the season. And to make matters worse, Birmingham get promoted through the playoffs through Tony Mowbray. Them Sunderland fans will be seething with their owners because they're not happy with their owners to start with. They want him to sell the club and go. Lee says, great show tonight, Tony and Roly. Everyone's spot on. I just love it when the Mackhams are in disarray. It just makes my day even better. Would be Farmer says, hopefully we'll have so much fun tomorrow as we had on the show. Take care, all you too, mate. I mean, in some ways, yes, I'd love to see Sunderland up next season because they get smashed every week and they'll be straight back down on record points. They'll hold the record for 11 points.
I'd rather they just stay in the wilderness in the Championship and maybe go back to their rightful place in League One.
Derek says, have you seen the Downfall hit last parody about the two army going into Sunderland? I haven't. No, I'm going to have a look at. I've seen a Hitler one going around, but I'll have to have a look at that one. Yeah, I think it might be the same one. I don't know. Bye, everyone. See you all when the moon is gone. Cheers, Gary. Ronald says Beale was making excuses before the match. Yeah, I mean, he tried to even have mind games with Eddie Howe, saying Eddie Howe's overachieved. You know, what an idiot. Michael Beale is DM anybody? No. He needs to go back to EastEnders and start selling Beale's eels. Lee says, I'd laugh if Birmingham batter Sunderland. Do you know what? I would absolutely think that would be hilarious. The meltdown would be fantastic. I hope they get beat. I hope they get beat tomorrow off Ipswich Town away. They should do. Beale should never have left Barcelona for the Sunderland job, says Gary. Great show. Cheers.
Should never have left Walford.
Shouldn't have left QPR, should he? But anyway, that's another day. If you have liked what you see, please don't forget to smash that like if you haven't done so already. It only takes a couple of seconds and it does help the channel. Thank you very much. If you're brand new to the channel, come and smash the subscribe and be part of this great community we have here. And we do have a bloody good laugh on this channel as well. And some great debates as well. Also, hit that bell notification. That tells you when I'm live. Have a pre-record or any upcoming shows. So I'll be back tomorrow with a pre-match. So join for that. Yeah. Right, let's quickly go into some comments before we wrap up. Take care, all, and have a great night. Yes, you too, Trolls. Have a great evening, mate. Although you're about an hour ahead of us, aren't you, in Norway? So, yeah, have a great night. But just remember, the future's bright. The future is definitely black and white, and it's a bye-bye from me.
It's goodbye from me.
Checking out Away the Lads.